Hi kids, Pink Girly here. I should be working on items for my upcoming craft show, which is really around the corner, but I decided to take a little time to be creative, and I'm going to work in my napkin journal. It's been a little while ago that I was on the internet, and I don't know for what reason I was looking at napkins, and I ended up buying a bunch of napkins from the Ukraine, and they're just beautiful. And started to go on YouTube more and look at more videos. I started to follow a gal by the name of Dee Dee Willingham, and then most recently the Mary Altier. And these gals do napkins in their journals on their art pages. And you can use napkins for a lot of things, not just your lap. So today, like I said, I'm going to do a page in my art journal. I'm not sure if this is going to end up getting upset. This is a small journal that I'm getting ready to, I had to let it dry. And I'm going to do some other things around the edge. But I'm just covering the cover with this cute napkin. You can use them for greeting cards, tags, really anything. You can have a book dedicated to just napkins and journaling, or you can do a page in your art journal as one of your regular art sessions if you're into art journaling, or even in a regular journal, you could do a little bit of napkin work. The project I'm going to do today, my napkin is already on my page. So if you need to learn how to do that and adhere your napkin to your page, I would recommend you look up Dee Dee Willingham, or you might be able to find her on YouTube under Coffee and Art in the Morning. And there are tons of other videos where folks show you how to peel your napkin apart. I didn't pull a napkin out. Mostly they usually are either 2 or 3 ply. But I'm just going to show you a few pages I have done in my journal. I only have, I think, 3 or 4 pages done. So this one, I used a Juliet Crane image, colored that. The background is just a pink napkin that just has a light images of flowers, almost like ghost images of flowers in the back. And then I used acrylic paint and added some other little embellishments. I think this is a Tim Holtz Dilutions little image that I colored. So that was fun. And then let's see, my Post-its got pushed inside my book. They're not sticking very well. I love things that have to do with Paris. So this background napkin had a lot of ladies on it in Paris type fashion outfits, old fashioned vintage looking things. Of course, the Eiffel Tower. And then I had some of these other, gosh, what do you call those? Dress forms in a coloring book. So I just did those on the plain side. Didn't put a lot of color on them. And then I have a stamp that says, if it doesn't make you feel fabulous, don't do it, don't buy it, don't keep it. So I added that to the page and then just darkened around the edges. So I thought that one turned out okay. And this is another one that I did with a Juliet Crane image out of one of her coloring books. And then I had these in my scrapbooking stash. Live, bliss, happy, laugh, and then again some other large coloring images. And then across the top here, I just have, it's like a little piece of muslin. It's wrapped around a card, cut like a banner, all pre-cut. So I think I put alcohol ink on that. And then just added some pink dots to kind of make that coordinate with the wild colors of the page. And then in my journal, it's just a sketchbook that I've marked for my napkin journaling. I think it was $5 or $6. I don't know. I probably got it on special. And sometimes I just feel like pasting in napkins. So I'll just go through. This is another one with Juliet Crane images. It's a poppy napkin. So then I just treated the outside of my page here with some acrylic paint and colored my Juliet Crane images, and they're going to go there. And I use the Golden Matte Medium to paste down my napkins. So I've quite a few in here, ready to go. Some violets and butterflies. Big sunflowers. If you go to Tuesday Morning, if you have a Tuesday Morning near you, they have napkins, a very large variety. They're not inexpensive always, but you have to buy the whole package. Online, you can buy a couple at a time, like 4 or 5 napkins. Some vendors sell them loose or individually. And sometimes if you go to an Ollie's, you can find napkins that are very reasonable. I always check clearance too in some of the craft stores. So I have no idea what I'm going to do with some of these pages. I love hydrangeas. So I was trying to straighten up in my craft room here, and I came across a picture that I'd colored. I was waiting for my coloring books to arrive that are, I think her name is Emmanuelle Cologne, I guess you would say it, and they're called Coleridge Wild, I believe, and she's got 3 or 4 editions. And I had ordered them, but of course I was anxious, so I went on the internet and downloaded a couple of images, and I had put them on some nicer, I guess computer paper colored. So I came across her this morning when I was going through my room here and trying to straighten up a few areas, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll just do a quick, well, it's not going to be quick, let's face it, napkin collage in my napkin journal. So I pulled her out and I just tore it apart a little bit here. Probably should have left, but I didn't think you needed to watch me fussy cut. So I have my napkin in 4 sections. I'm not sure why I did that. So I have my coloring image that I'm going to use. And I pulled out a couple of other things. I think I'm going to try to stencil this image on my page. I've been having I haven't been having tremendous success stenciling. So Dee Dee gave us a tip last week. So I'm going to try that, see if I can be a little more successful. And there are a few other things here. Let's see what else I pulled out. A couple of other stencils that I might use. I got these. It's a round stencil. There's a whole set. I have no idea where I got them, but that's got a little flower design on it. Thought that might work. And I pulled out this Tim Holtz stencil. Might add that in. I don't know whose stencil this is, but I love those little swishy, swirly things. So pulled that out. And then when I was trying to straighten up, I also found this is just a sentiment on a piece of watercolor paper, and it's very textured. So I just quickly colored that in with some alcohol markers. So I was thinking that might look good on this side of the page. And then I had copied some Julia Crane images for a project with my family a while ago, which never came to be. So I thought I might add a few of these things on the page. And then I pulled out, I wanted to do some stamping, so I pulled out this stamp. It's actually from a Christmas set, but I don't think it looks too Christmassy. So I'm thinking I might stamp around the edge of my pages like that. We'll see how that goes. So the first thing I thought I would do is the little girl that I want to use here is on such white paper. I thought I might do a wash around her and around the bees to kind of mute that color. I do have my coffee here, so if you hear me slurping, that's because I'm taking a sip of coffee. So let me just, gosh, I have stuff piled up everywhere. I'm going to put my book underneath for just a minute. I hope it doesn't fall off the cliff, as Murray would say. And I'm thinking, I picked her because of the orange hair, and I picked that collage page in my napkin journal because I have orange. And so I just want to take away a little bit of the brightness. And I don't want to go crazy with a lot of detail and take a lot of time fussying around with this. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a wash. And I think I want to use not so much orange. As I look at my page, that's such a bright orange that I've got there. I'm thinking really like a gold, like maybe this marigold color. This is an Americana brand paint, and it's called Marigold. And I just have this little palette dish. I was going to get my little spray bottle, but I didn't grab that. Just going to put a little tiny bit. And I know I have a little thing there to grab some water. And I don't want a real good brush because I'm going to be on the messy side. So let me see. Maybe this little flat brush will work. I'm going to put that in some water. I'm going to get out a baby wipe because I know I'm going to need that. I tend to get messy. And I should grab a paper towel. Always a good idea. I was focused on getting things I wanted to attach to the page and didn't think about my other supplies. So, okay, I've got my paper towel, I've got my coffee, got a brush. All right, so I'm going to put some, make this a little bit of an acrylic wash. I don't really want a whole lot of color. I just want to take down the brightness around my image. So I'm just mixing that around real good as best as I can. distribute that pigment. I'm just going to test this on the back of this card. I think that could be a little bit lighter yet. If you don't know who Emanuela Colon is, her and these coloring books, the images are gorgeous. And so fun to color. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this wash around the little girl and these bees. Tone those down a little bit. I chopped off half of this guy's wings when I was fussy cutting. Didn't realize they were there. But that's okay. I can put those back in if I want. That's still pretty heavy yellow. If I'd have left this all together instead of tearing it apart first, this would be a lot easier to do. Hindsight 2020, right? So as I'm cleaning up and digging around through my mess here, I noticed an image that I'd started to color of a witch. She's a great witch. I think it's in the coloring book. I don't know the name of it though, by Elena Lazardova or something like that. I never can pronounce these gals' names. So I think I'm going to, and in the book that I have, you get 2 of every image. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe I'll work on that later tonight and do another video. I haven't done a Halloween one. Okay, so my little bees are done. Yeah, I think that's probably good. And I colored the image with Prismacolor Premier pencils. And I don't totally want to go over her. I just kind of want to go around the flower. Just sitting here thinking, oh gosh, I thought I only made a little bit of paint. Look at all this paint I have. Should have just done a little drip. I hate to waste paint. Well, I hate to waste any of my art products, but some of this paint I've had, oh my gosh, for so many years. But I still hate to waste it. Now, if you do any kind of collage, and you probably know this already, but I think it bears repeating. I started to cut that there. I think maybe I'll tear that. If you have a torn edge, when you go to glue it down, the edge will more than likely blend better into the surface you're adhering it to. So that's why I tore this image off of my the paper that I had it printed on. Anyway, these images by Emanuela Colon are gorgeous. This little girl faces are absolutely stunning. Of course, I had to have all 3 books. Or nice paper. And you get 2 of every image. They're just wonderful books. All right, so I think I like that a lot better. I just think my camera's the other way. That's perfect. That's great. Now, I think I'm going to do the same thing with this. Now, I didn't do the best job with my alcohol markers on this. You can see here it's a little bit messy. I'm not liking that so much. But my alcohol markers don't have a really fine tip. They've got that chiseled edge side. You can see I was testing colors there. And I kind of got out of the lines there. So I think I'm going to put some color in there. I was trying to determine whether I wanted to do it with a colored pencil or if I wanted to do it with more paint. A lot of times I feel like I'm better with the paintbrush than I am with pen or pencil. Now I'm using quite a bit of water on this image here, but like I said, it is on watercolor paper. So if you were going to use something like this and it's just regular computer paper or scrapbook paper, you would want to maybe not have your paintbrush as saturated as mine. But I kind of can get away with it because it's watercolor paper. All right, so I think that'll be good. I'm going to hit that with my heat gun a little bit. You can see where the alcohol marker bled through the back. But I'm going to glue this down, so that's okay. That won't bother at all. And I think because it's such a rough surface, being the watercolor paper, that I'm really not going to want to use color pencil because I won't be able to blend that out to satisfy me. So I'm thinking I just want to float some color around where I kind of messed up. But I'm looking at my colors. Maybe I'll try some Georgia clay. I don't know that this will work any better. I might mess the whole thing up and have to go with, plan B. So this is Americana acrylic paint, Georgia clay. I'll take off that little paint skin. I'm just going to put a little drip here. I'm going to try to get a little drip. Boop. And then I'm going to use an angled brush. This is a Princeton 1/4 inch shader. And I'm going to wet my brush. And I'm going to tap that on my napkin, on my paper towel. And I'm just tipping the corner. You can't really see that. I don't know if you can see it any better. Of my brush in my Georgia clay. And then I'm going to work that through the bristles. My little work mat here. Maybe I'll try it on the back. Need a little more water. It's not moving. There we go. And then every time I want to make some strokes, I'm going to reload that. The smaller amount of paint I put on that corner tip be the smaller the floated area will be. I use this technique a lot, painting my light bulb ornaments. And if I'm painting any projects on wood, you can use a, I don't know about on paper, but on other surfaces you can use, they have a blending medium. I guess I think a lot of people might use that, but I just use water. That's acrylic paint, so it usually only takes, really a minute or so to dry. I usually go in one direction, let it dry, and then come back and do the other direction that I might need to do. There's a gal that I bought quite a lot of her books, and I did go to a seminar of hers many years ago by the name of Maxine Thomas. Ugh, love her stuff. And she has a lot of pattern books, vintage country type images. Her things are beautiful. And gosh, it was so much fun to go and sit in a class. I mean, this is a good 10, 20 years ago. Anyway, she does something similar. And she's got a line of mop brushes, MOP mop brushes that are fabulous. And when she loads her paint on, of course, she's working on wooden things like that. She floats her color, and then she takes one of her mop brushes and taps the outer edge, and that really gives you a nice blend. All the stuff you don't need to know, right? I'm just trying to decide where else I want some shading. I need to go up here. My T. Where I really got out of the lines, I'm just making that edge closest to the letter where I messed it up darker, so I kind of hide my sloppiness in coloring. I also use this technique painting ceramic pieces. So I think that looks better. Now, of course, I'm not liking this area either. So I've got this Gamel Green, this Delta Ceramic Coat. This is a really old color. I guess you say Gamel, Gamal. I'm going to take a little drip of that. And a little, this I don't think I'm going to be able to squeeze out. This is the Dioxazine Purple. This is by Folk Art. So, see how thick that is? Can you see that? That's not going to squeeze out. So you know what? I'm going to use it out of the top of this. which, as I've said before, do as I say, don't do as I do. You really shouldn't stick your brush in your paint bottle. Now that's way too much. See how wide that's coming off of my brush? My image is so small. I don't know if I can. Just putting a little bit. At the top of that. No, I should come all the way down around. I have no idea how to figure that out. I don't know if I'm making that any better or making it worse. It's not like I'm going to frame this and hang it on the wall. Just for my napkin journal. But, you know, sometimes we get a little crazy with our projects. Because I should really either buy a new bottle of this or put some water in it and really shake it up. I think that'll be okay. I'm going to do a little bit of that green just there in the center, I think. Just on the top edge. Gosh, that just makes so much difference to me. And once you do this a little bit and practice, you'll get a feel for it and know when to reload your brush. That's all the fussing I'm going to do with that. Okay. Cap this up, put this stuff aside, clean up my mess. And like I said, I'm going to use Golden Matte Medium to glue down my pages. I love these mats. This is like my matte medium in a old empty virgin bottle. Not my idea. And I'm going to decide where I want my images. I think I'll put her all the way to the right because she's kind of, I don't think I want her straight. Well, maybe I do. She's looking this way. So I'm going to glue down my little bees. This guy's a bigger one, so maybe I'll put him there. Oh, I want to put in my sentiment here. So let me tear some of this excess paper off. I'm just taking off around the edge. Sometimes what I do is scrapbook paper if I'm going to use it in a collage. And not that thin stuff. but scrapbook paper that is cardstock. It has a design. Sometimes it's two-sided, but a lot of it is one-sided. But it's really thick. Sometimes I work with the paper and I pull the back ply off because then it glues down in your book better. But I don't know if I can do it with this watercolor paper. See how I just worked that edge, and you kind of can take some of this off. You have to be careful because it'll rip your image if you're not too careful. If you kind of like soften that up a corner and work with it a little bit, a lot of times you can get this, just like peeling the napkin apart. But this watercolor paper is so heavy. And some of my scrapbook paper is really heavy. See? Now it's nice and thin. But if you do a little bit, see now there I'm ripping into the design. So you don't want that. You got to watch what you're doing and take your time. And you may not care, but I like to have, if I can have it as flat as I can when I'm gluing this stuff down. I have a trash can right underneath my desk. You think I would throw that in there, but no, I'm just tossing it on my desk. Oh, look, I chipped a nail already. Gel, it's supposed to not do that. I had acrylic nails put on. I love acrylic nails. Oh, and I can work okay with them on, but geez, they get full of hot glue and paint. Like I said, I've got all these light bulbs sitting here ready to, but this week I'm going to work on my Harry Potter bulbs and my Charlie Brown bulbs. So I've got all the base coats on. I got to get crack-a-lacking on that stuff. So now that I've started this, you know, I want it to be all all flat. Sometimes it's just a small piece I'm going to glue down, so it's really not a big deal to take off that extra layer of paper. And some brands of paper aren't as good as others, and it peels apart really easy. Now, where I tore this, I got some wood, so I'm going to get rid of that. All right. I think that's good enough. So I think I'm going to put my sentiment over there. And somewhere on my mouth here, I save all the backings of my different tablets of paper and things that I get, especially if it's got a slippery surface. And then I use it for a variety of things. But a lot of times I use it underneath my pages so I don't glue it to the next page. And I really should probably put some of my matte medium in like one of the little palettes that I have laying around, but I don't always do that either. I just squirt it on the page. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to squirt some on the back of her and some on the back of the page. Well, let me do the page. I'm just going to squirt some on. And if you don't have a palette or a palette tray, you can use the top of a coffee lid, you know, those plastic cans like on the top of your peanuts that you buy or coffee. You can use that. or you can use a piece of tin foil. So I'm just going to put her where I want her. And then sometimes I just add it to my brush. I know it's crazy, the stuff I do, but this works okay for me. So you want to make sure you get under those edges so you get that glued down very well. And then you have to be careful too with whatever you have say worked on. Say if you did an image with watercolor, if you put this wet matte medium on top of it, it's gonna run most likely. And I'm just gonna finish moving that around a little bit. I'm gonna put a little bit more on my brush hairs. And I think I'm going to put this little guy here where she's kind of looking at him. And if you really don't want any bubbles, you can take a palette knife or an old credit card or gift card, bone folder. Oh, I have a hair fuzzy on her cheek. Get that off. And scrape over top of it. You could even put some of this medium on your finger and really rub it out. You don't want to do it with a dry finger because then your finger sticks and it rips the paper. Trust me. I know that for a reason. I've done it one too many times. Now, it may seem that I'm just lazy, but, well, I am lazy. But that's not really why. It's because inevitably I never use it all. And then it just sits there and it dries up and I waste it. And this is not the cheapest thing to buy. So I do it this way. So I use what I have and I don't seem to waste as much. So I'm going to put this over here. Put some on the back of my image. Get under my edges. Now when this dries and you close your page and you go to look at your book again and you hear this crunchy noise, which I happen to just thoroughly enjoy. It's not that they're sticking together. It's just that I don't really know what it is, but they don't stick. I'm not sure where I want my other B. Maybe in this area, kind of take up. Space here. Oh, I forgot I have those other things I want to color and add. Can't figure out how that guy is supposed to be. I guess this way. Need just a little bit more. And then once you get this matte medium on your page, just brush the excess around, because then when you do different things to it, a lot of times if you don't like it, you can wipe it back up if you get it on there good. All right, for right now, I'm going to put that aside. Put my brush in water, close up my medium, and I'm going to set my book off to the side. Let that dry a little bit. And then I'm going to do a few of these little images here. So I have my colored pencils here. I'm not sure that I want all of these that I have. I know I want a couple of these little sun images because I think they're real sweet. So maybe 3. I like to do things in odd numbers, so maybe I'll do 3 of those. Sure about this flower. Yeah, that's kind of cute too. Maybe I'll just do, maybe I'll do 3 of those. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And let me get rid of my trash here. And I think I'll just do one of this gal. And I'm not going to go crazy with coloring these because it's for part of my collage. It's not like these are not going to be the focal point. So I want to do these a bright yellow. Actually, I could probably do those with alcohol markers, but you know, maybe I should consider that. Anyway, let's do the alcohol markers are right here. I think this was, I have a hard time opening these things. This is the Spectrum Noir marker. Yeah, this will work. So I just want to add a little color. So just to fill in my page. So this is not the focal point. So I'm going to be super crazy about coloring it. And if you use alcohol markers, just remember it's going to go through to the back side of almost any material you would use it on. In this case, that's not a big deal because if you're working in a beautiful coloring book and it has the image on the back side, you want to be aware of that. This is a lot quicker than color pencil for sure. And this is getting a little uneven, but you know what? That's okay. I'm going to do a little. I always pick the wrong end. A little pink right here. A little pink on her lips. She's adorable. They're like pink and orange together. I thought about doing this part. off camera. Maybe I should have. What are we? Oh gosh, we're at an hour already. I'm getting ready for a craft show, and I do my light bulbs or whatever else, my junk journals or whatever else I'm going to take to the show. I don't usually do one at a time. I usually do several. Like light bulbs, I might work on a dozen or more at a time. So it doesn't seem like it takes that long. But when you're doing one, it seems like it takes forever. So I want all these colors to be pretty much the same on each image. I don't want a lot of different colors. I'm trying to stay with some of the colors that are in the back of that tin, which are orange. I think there was some pink, some purple. Let's see. Spectrum Walk. They have all these numbers on it. I wish they had, well, it's letters and numbers. PL2. I have no idea what that means. That's okay. Put that around the outside of this one. And if you're unfamiliar with the alcohol markers, that the alcohol ink dries really quick. I've tried to learn how to do shading with alcohol markers, and I have not spent a lot of time working on it. But it is not easy, at least not for me. I think I want, we'll do the inside. Of her petals, the purple. Now the reason I'm doing this way instead of doing this after I've glued it in the book, it's because the surface underneath would be bumpy. Yet I want it to be smooth. There may be an occasion where I don't care about that, but I do right now. So that's why I'm coloring them. This is also Spectrum Noir. Oh my goodness. I know it has to be tight because you don't want them to dry out, but holy moly. This is CT4. No idea what that means. I think I might do her face flesh, which of course I don't have any in the mark. Well, I guess. Oh, sorry. I just whacked the camera. Oh boy, that's terrible. I don't know if you'll really see that. I think that's supposed to be flesh. I want an orangey color. That's not very, kids. I need, well, this is OR1, so you think that would stand for orange, right? There we go. And we have a winner. If you've not done any kind of decoupaging, or maybe you have and you use Mod Podge, I use Mod Podge as a glue in my junk journals or greeting cards, scrapbook paper projects. I use it for projects where the Mod Podge is going to be in between two different surfaces. Because for me, and I'm in South Jersey, so I can't imagine the climate is the reason, but my experience has been that if I use it as an outer sealant or a decoupaging glue, it doesn't really ever dry. I had taken some tin cans and decoupaged some really cool images around a tin can so you could use them. Oh, I have one right here. Use them like as a pencil. I thought, oh man, people are going to love these. But the decoupage stuff never really dried. I mean, it's dry to the touch, but if we had a real humid day, I would not be able to pick this up off the table. It kind of stuck to the table. And then as soon as the weather would get dry again, it felt, stopped using that for outside. I mean, I use a lot of it, but I use it, as I said, as a glue. And it's great because it doesn't wrinkle or warp for me. All right, so I'm back here now to my goldenrod paint. I'm going to add a little more water to it. Get rid of that white. So everything kind of works together. I didn't do her little face. I'm going to dig out my Neo 2 crayons. I don't know when I mean, I've been on YouTube for several years, but I don't know when I actually really started to follow certain people. And I have learned so much since then. And of course, know a lot more about that I never knew existed before, which is good and bad. Good for your mind and your creativity, bad for your budget. Oh, look, I didn't do the purple on the sky. Probably sitting there watching the video saying, do the other flower, do the other flower. And Neo 2 crayons are one product that I never knew existed. And oh my gosh, I so love them. I don't know why I love them. I mean, I have some watercolor paints and watercolors that I have messed around with, and I do my mixed media art and my wall art with them, with the watercolors. Watercoloring is fairly new to me. But I just absolutely love the crayons. Different strokes, right? It's like the color pencil here is kind of acts like a resist, so I can try to just brush right over it and it doesn't really influence the color. That's great. Okay, so my Neo 2s are right here. And this is their flesh color. But I think I want to go with maybe salmon. Yeah, I got some water in that water brush, so let's just go with that. And you could scribble this out on this surface and scoop it up. Oh, I splashed something, it looks. Oh, maybe it was part of the picture. I don't know. I feel like I splashed something. Anyway. I should have kept the little scraps of paper. I want it real dark. The more water you use, like anything else, the lighter the color. Now I'm going to hit these with my heat gun real quick. Dry them up. That's fresh. I didn't get her face real even. I'm kind of trying to hurry now. I have a lot left to do. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this video. Where's my book? Dry these properly. All right, let's see. I'll put that one over there. I don't want to cover up all my other flowers. I might put that there. This here. I think I might just use the flower, not the stem. Put her down here. I'll find a home for these other ones. So I'm going to close out this video, just a few minutes over an hour. And then I'm going to come back. I'm going to have all these glued down. And I think I'm going to take my, let's see if I have one right here. Probably not. I'm going to take my Sharpie pen. Oh, I just had one in my hands. Okay, a Sharpie pen, not a Sharpie marker. And I'm going to do her eyes so they're nice and dark. And like the dots in her petals. So I want to do all that before I glue it down and it gets bumpy. So then the next video I'm going to come back and I'll finish this up. Finish up the accents. I'm going to do some stamping and some stenciling. And then I'll be able to finish this up, I think, in the next video without a problem. So thanks for joining me. Don't forget that napkins are not just for your lap. Make sure that you take time to be creative. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.